Welcome back to the show. This is a way to see Star Wars like you have never seen before. It's coming up on November 30th and December 1st at TD Place. It is called Star Wars: A New Hope. And the president and production manager of GFN Productions and conductor with Film Harmonique, Francis Choinière, joins me here on the show. Francis, welcome. Great to have you here. I want to talk, first of all, a little bit about your musical background. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I started playing piano when I was about 4 years old, and when I was in Cégep studying piano, I eventually developed an interest in conducting.
Okay.
Conducting my own compositions, because I was also a composer when I was young. And once I stepped on the podium, I never left. So I wanted to continue conducting, and so now I've been a conductor for 8 years.
And you're only, what, 26 years
26,
old?
yeah.
Like, is that uncommon to
Quite
see?
uncommon,
Yeah, I thought
yes.
I would imagine so. And I was telling you in the green room, like I've seen many orchestra performances over the years. My wife and I are huge classical fans, and the conductor is always the person that catches my eye. I just can't take my eyes off. Tell me about that role. Like, what role, for those that aren't familiar, what role does the conductor play exactly?
There's many
Yes.
hats, obviously. On the technical side, we're keeping time, we're keeping everyone together, we're also unifying the artistic vision of the works that we're performing, but we're also there to kind of, encourage musical excellence, right? You know, like everyone that's in the orchestra, they're experts in their fields, and so we're bringing out this talent, bringing out this expression, and again, just unifying the musical vision.
Do you feel yourself as an entertainer too, though? Like, because as I said, me as a viewer, I love watching a conductor. Does that come to your mind when you're conducting, that you know there's an audience there?
I think I think different conductors do different things, but for me, everything that I do is for the music. Like, the gestures that I do represent what I want to express in the music, my interpretation, which I think that the orchestra will interpret from me.
Right.
But obviously, from an audience perspective, not knowing the music or just looking at the conductor, it's obviously very fascinating to see the gestures and all of that.
Let's talk about this production, Star Wars: A New Hope. Describe it to people at home. It's a really unique way to see a film, isn't it?
So it's a cine concert, which means that we play the whole film from A to Z on a massive screen. It's about 50 feet at TD Arena.
Wow.
And right below, you have a full symphony orchestra of 74 musicians who are playing the soundtrack live. Every note that John Williams wrote in his original soundtrack, we hear.
Wow.
And it's a completely different experience. It's not at all like sitting at home and watching, that's the first question. Oh, but why can't I just watch it at home?
Right.
Well, because it's a concert. Mm-hmm. It's not watching TV. That's just the additional, visual stimulus. Of course, you hear all the dialogue, all the sound effects, but music is what's loudest. And for everyone that's gone to see it, they're always fascinated to hear, oh, I've never heard that part of the soundtrack before, because it's mixed so low.
Right, yes, of
so
course.
that different sound effects come out. So you really enjoy a whole new side of John Williams' masterpiece of Star Wars that you wouldn't really have heard.
You mentioned you're a composer as well when you were young. I like to talk about that too, because again, I think it takes a special person to be able to compose music. That came into your life fairly young. Do you still compose music, and what's that process like?
I still compose a little bit, and it started from when I was playing piano. You're playing around, and you're like, oh, I like this, and this sounds great, and then I think at 9 years old, I write my first piece for piano.
Really?
And then I developed interest for writing for orchestra, and I think that's what also led me to conducting, because when you're composing, you're writing for all of the instruments of the orchestra. Flute, trombone, trumpet, percussion, strings, and you learn about the orchestra in a different way. And it provided kind of greater insight of, okay, well, how should each musician see the score? So I think it was a very useful tool for me, getting started as a conductor and, knowing more what I wanted out of the score.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people probably assume there's not a lot of opportunity perhaps to compose classical anymore because, you're when you see like popular music, for instance, right, we don't see those pieces, but I imagine film and things like video games, right, have really, that that's a lot of classical new compositions go into those two industries, right?
And that's what we love about this symphonic music. You know, John Williams, Howard Shore, Hans Zimmer, they're really building out of this classical tradition. They're using the full symphony orchestra.
Yeah.
There's a reason there's 74. That's the way it was scored, you know, and he's really, you know, basing off all these, you know, centuries of tradition of orchestral writing. And after we've already done it, you know, we ask the musicians, so what is it like playing Star Wars? It's difficult.
Really,
It's extremely demanding.
Wow.
You know, it's not like, oh, you know, it's just film music, it's going to be easy. No. Extremely demanding. The brass are playing the entire time.
Wow.
Those strings have extremely quick passages that you can't fake that. You need to practice it.
Can you see perhaps doing some other episodes down the road?
Yeah, so our intention is to present the trilogy over 3 years.
Okay.
And we had just, so this will be the second time we bring our orchestra to Ottawa. We had just recently come in March for Return of the King.
Yes.
Of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which we completed at TD.
Nice.
And yeah.
Excellent. Francis, really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I want to remind everyone, Star Wars A New Hope, it's happening at TD Place November 30th and December 1st, 7:30 p.m. You can get your ticket information at tdplace.ca. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back to wrap things up right after this here on Daytime.